Yes, good afternoon, students. We are starting our class soon on social change and stress. Ask your colleague to join the class. Yes, we are online now. Ask your colleague to join the class. We are already online now. We are waiting for some students to join. Today we are going to discuss about social change and stress. Okay, some students have joined. Is my voice clear and audible? Write down in chat box. Am I audible? Write down in chat box. Am I audible? Ask your colleague to join the class. Previously, we have discussed about environmental section. Now, part of sociology. That in sociology, we are going to see about social change and stress. Reply in the chat box. Am I audible? Okay, so I have got the reply from so many students that I am audible. Okay, so you may have learned about social change. In your previous classes, you may have learned about social change. That is any deviation from our social, one part of the social life to another part of the social life, that is called social change. For example, you are previously you were studying into school, so now you are studying into college. So it is your small social change in respect to academic activities. You are, after passing your final exams of physiotherapy or whatever you are studying, after that you will be getting job. So now your study period will be over, and now you will be getting the job, so you will be earning. So that will be your social change. Then after some time you will get married. That is also example of social change, from unmarried status to married status. That is also social change. And because of this example of the social change, these were the just few example of the social change. But every day we experience so many social change. Some social change are day to day life. Some social change are short time life, and some social change are persistent. So because of this various social change, person may experience stress, right? So that we are going to study today. So related to stress, so we are going to see what is stress, type of stress, individuals and stress origin and body system, adaptation system. So being a medical person and paramedical person, we also should know about the changes of in the body system because of stress. What are the adaptation symptoms and cost of the stress? So what is stress? First of all, stress is the reaction people have to excessive pressure or other types of the demand placed upon them because of the demand. Because of the excessive work, person may experience whatever physiological changes, psychological changes, that is regarded as stress. Suppose example of the studies, right? Because of demand situation, that you have to study all these things in one day. You have to study your sociology, for example, in one day, or you have to study your environmental science in one day. So that is the demanding situation. So that is beyond the limit of the person's ability to work. So it may lead to psychological and physiological changes, and that is regarded as stress. So it arises when they worry that they can't cope up with the situation. When the person worry that person is not able to complete the task given to them. That is one example. So various kind of the example can be given that cope up with the situation. Suppose we want to cope up with the present situation of the corona pandemic. Suppose we are not able to cope up with that situation, so we experience this stress. So stress is person's reaction to demanding situation. This reaction will be in form of physiological stress as well as psychological stress. So stress is wear and tear phenomenon. It is in body we experience wear and tear phenomenon in our anatomical system also. Because of injury, there are wearing off of the any part of the body system. Wear and tear occurs. So here in case of the stress, wear and tear occurs in brain, in our mental status. So it is wear and tear of our mind and body's experience as we attempt to cope up with the continuing changing environment. So environment is what is that is present everywhere around us. So as we want to cope up with the environment, there can be wear and tear in our mind and bodies. So that is also manifested in form of stress. So when stress is present, whenever the pressure is more than reaction. This equation, that stress is present whenever pressure over us is more than the greater than the resources. P, S is for stress, P is for pressure, and R is for resources. Whenever we have more pressure to do the work than available resources, then stress is experienced. For example, resources. What are the resources? Can you write down in chat box? What are different resources for any work to do? What are different resources? Write down in chat box for any work to do. What are different resources? Write down in chat box. So whenever this pressure of the work is more than the available resources, we experience stress. I'm waiting for your reply. Whatever comes in your mind, write down in chat box. Whatever comes in your mind, you can write down in chat box. What are the resources? Can you give you examples of resources? Write down in chat box. Whatever comes in your mind, write down. Yes, I'm getting the reply. Manpower, time, funding. Yes, very good. Food, clothes, shelter. This is in different way. Money. So you have correctly mentioned. Yes, food, shelter, population, money, manpower. This manpower, machine, minutes. So you can remember some 4 or 5 M. One M is for manpower. We are talking about resources. Manpower. Then money. Second M is money. Then minutes means time. Then machine. So manpower, machine. So if we have suppose we are talking about this minutes. Suppose I have given the example that you have to study all the things of the sociology today, and tomorrow will be your exam. So now minutes, time will be your problem. You will have available resources. You will have all the material of the sociology, for example, but you will have less time. You will have less than 24-hour time. So here resources is less, resources is time. So pressure will be more than the resources. Then you experience this stress. One student is saying mainly budget problem. It is not always so that mainly budget problem. It depends upon the task. It depends upon the work we do. Many a times in many industries, budget is available, but manpower is not available. For example, because of the lockdown, many workers have migrated to their own place. So manpower is a problem nowadays. Money is available, but manpower is not available. So whenever we have, in short, we want to say that when the stress is experienced, pressure is more than available resources. At that time, we experience stress. So stress, what are the feelings during the stress? Worry, we feel as worry. We feel tense, tired, frightened, डर लगे, elated, depressed. Most of the time we feel depressed, worrisome, right? Because of even we feel the tired, even we have not done enough physical activity, but because of the stress we feel tired. Because of the stress we feel worrisome, even if we have not done any type of the physical activity. Depressed, anxious, anger. Yes, this is also common phenomenon of all the individuals. Because of the stress, person feel angry. So these are the common feelings of the stress. Worry, tense, tired, frightened, elated mode, depressed mode, anxious mode, anger. So types of stressors, basically they are classified into two types: external stressors and internal stressors. So just to highlight this, external is outside the body. It is many a times it may not be under our control. Internal is inside the body, right? Many a times it may be under control also. So external stressors, suppose some other person is causing is the cause for your stress, that is external stressors. Suppose environment is the cause, so that can be external stressor. Internal stressor, for example, disease in our body. We are suffering from any chronic disease, and because of this disease we experience the stress. We are not able to perform the task, and so we experience the stress. So that is called as internal stressor. So external stressor, again, physical environment, like in case of the air. Suppose air is not favorable to us. Suppose there will be a cyclone present for so many days, then we experience the stress. Suppose rain is present throughout the week, then we experience the stress. Physical environment is not uh, in our favor. Then social interaction, that is the major external stressor. Interaction between two person is the major stressor. So if this interaction is not in favor of, or it is not in they are not coping up with this interaction, so day by day we experience social interaction in our job work, in our student life, in our family life, in our relatives, and because of this interaction there can be some stress. And if the two persons are not agreeing with the same situation, then there can be feeling of the stress. Organizational stressor, so where we work, where you study, because of the work, because of the study, because of the organizational pressure, because of the pressure from boss, because of the pressure from higher authority, there can be stress, and that is called as organizational related stress. Major life event, suppose death, because of the death of the near and dear, there can be stress. Many a times some good life event may also bring down some short term stress. Suppose birth event. Birth event is actually the happy incidents, but for short term, for preparation, that what to do after birth, what to do after birth of child, how to care the child, that can be a stress. Suppose marriage, particularly for the female part, because she has to leave house of house of her parents, and she has to go to another home where many unknown persons are there. So interaction with this unknown person, so that is major life event. So these are the social change. Person is having the social, our title is social change and stress. So here major life event, that is death, birth, marriage, these are the social change, and because of this social change person may experience stress. Daily hassles, daily day-to-day hassles. Suppose we have to reach up at sharp at 9 p.m. at particular place. Suppose at college you have to reach at sharp 9 a.m. and you are told that after 9 a.m. your classroom will be closed, you will not be allowed to enter the class. So this is the daily hassle. So if you become late to catch the bus, to catch the vehicle, and these are the daily hassles to which you are running, and because of this external, these are also external stressors. So physical environment, already I have described about all these external stressors, but we will see quickly about all these things which are mentioned in following slides. So physical environment, like noise is one of the major reason in physical environment to be the stress. Suppose you are studying and there can be noise of marriage activity, and so many dhol nagara and everything is there which is going nearby you. Or suppose the noise of industry is there nearby you, and that can be lead to disturbance in your day-to-day activity, and it can lead to the stress. Because of the noise, person may become anxious or depressed, and these are the effect of the noise. Bright light, very much bright light, it can be also a stress to your eye. Heat, again, in summer we experience, everybody experience heat, and because of the heat we are not able to perform the daily outdoor activities. We experience many a times we experience perspiration, and because of that we are not able to cope up with the environment, and we experience stress. So commonly this heat is very common physical stressor. Confined spaces, suppose the space is limited and you have so many persons are there in single space. Suppose one room is there and so many persons are living, 4 to 5 persons are living or sitting together in the job work, then that can be also a physical environment related stress. Social interaction, we have discussed in detail about this social interaction. Because of the rudeness of the others, some person is not behaving properly to other, bossiness. So boss is feeling that he is boss, and he is imperative to the employee, and every time he makes rudeness and bossiness. So he orders every time, and he is not behaving properly with the colleague or employee. Then it can be one of the reason of social stress. Aggressiveness by others, bullying. Organizational organizational rules, regulations, and deadlines. So in organization, you know that whenever we are working, we have been given the deadline. Many a times that deadline are not met. We are not able to complete the work before the deadline. So it leads to the stress. Rules and regulations of some of the organizations are so much strict that person experience stress. Major life event, I already described. Birth of child for short time, death, lost job. It is also major life event. Because of the lockdown and because of COVID, many persons you may be hearing in a newspaper, as well as in reading in newspaper, as well as hearing in news, that many persons have lost their job, and it can be also stress. So lost job is a major life event which may lead to the stress. It is the social change and which may lead to the stress. Promotion, many times promotion, we cannot say that as it can be the real stressor, but promotion against person's desire. Person is not able to work at the higher authority, and person is promoted to that. And at higher level, you have major social interaction with the public, major interaction with the other officers, and person is not able to cope up with this interaction, and person may feeling the stress. At higher level, you may have to work also accordingly. Your work may increase, so you have to give more time. Suppose you are working as a clerk in bank, so your time will be limited. But if you are working as a manager in the bank, then manager is sitting even after the clerk has left the bank. He may be sitting late up to 9 p.m., 10 p.m. according to the work. So this promotion, it may also lead to stressful job. Marital status change, suppose unmarried to married, suppose married to divorce, remarried. These are marital status change. Previously person is unmarried and person become married, and it may be we are hearing many type of the jokes related to marriage, and it is giving the stress. So it depends upon us how we take this situation. All this situation, these are the part of the life. Birth, death, lost job, promotion, marital status change, these are the part of the life. This every person has to experience. How we perceive this life event, so it depends upon us. Many a times, if we take it lightly, if we take alternative, suppose we take the alternative for the lost job, so we may experience less stress. Marital status change, so unmarried to married, actually it is the happy event. Why we take as a stress? So we have selected the person to whom we want to marry, and even though we are experiencing the stress, so we have to cope up with the other person, and accordingly we have to behave in day-to-day life. Then the stress will be less, or we may not even experience the stress. But definitely from married stage to divorce stage, it is stressful event, right? So these are the causes of social change, I mean to say social change and stress. Daily hazards, commuting, misplaced key, there is or mechanical breakdown. Many a times we forget keys, or many a time we forget our other belongings, like our wallet, like our pen, and we are searching in house, and it may lead to the stressful condition. We have to go to the hurriedly to our job work, our place of the work, and we are not getting the key, we are not finding the key, we are not finding our wallet, and it may lead to the stress. Mechanical breakdown, suppose you are going to your job, and unfortunately your car it mechanically broke down in between, so you may not reach in time, so it may lead to stress. Internal stressor, so these were all external stressors. Now we are going to see internal stressor. Lifestyle choices, negative self-talk, mind traps, and personality trait. Okay, before that, I would like to hear from you whatever the external stressors you have remembered. Write down what external stressors you have remembered or you have learned till now. What external stressors you have learned until now? Write down in chat box. Whatever the stressors you remember, write down in chat box. What external stressors do you know? Write down in chat box. I'm waiting for your reply. We have discussed about stress and causes of stress. There are two types of the causes: external stressors, and internal stressors. We have learned until now about external stressors. So, what points you remember in external stressors? Write in chat box. Till you reply, I am going to discuss some points. Lifestyle choices are internal stressors. So our lifestyle is our own choice. If we experience stress because of our bad lifestyle, then it is regarded as the internal stressor. Suppose we are our lifestyle, suppose bad lifestyle, we are not getting up early in the morning. We are taking the food which is harmful to our body. That is also lifestyle choice. And because of this harmful food and because of our bad habits like not exercising or not getting up early in the morning, we experience obesity, we experience diabetes, and because of that we experience the stress. Because of this stress disease we experience the stress. And a person behavioral stress, like a person is taking alcohol or taking that tobacco products, and because of that person is having the disease. Because of the tobacco product, person is having the cancer, oropharyngeal cancer, or because of alcohol liver disease. So it may lead to the stress in the body, it may lead to the stress over the mind, and it is because of the lifestyle choice. Negative self-talk, and talking every time negatively by about us, that I cannot do this work, oh this is too hard, I am not able to finish the work. So negative self-talk, every time talking negatively about person himself or herself, it may lead to the internal stress. Mind traps. So because of the mind, we have not trained our mind in multi-directional way. We have not trained our mind in multitasking. So we are keeping our mind in just one direction and one box, and because of this we experience the stress. Personality trait. Personality trait. Some of the personality trait, you know, the type A personality, type B personality. So type of the one personality, type A personality, that is every time competitive type of the personality, and type B personality happy go lucky. So as compared to the happy go lucky type of the personality, the competitive person who has competitive nature, he may experience more stress. So let me check whether you have answered about external stressor or not. Yes, so many students have answered. Organization, physical, social interaction, life event, social interaction, organizational daily hassle. Yes, organizational. One student has answered online study. How do you experience online study as a stress? Organizational, physical environment. See, organizational, this online study is short-time alternative. Yes, I definitely agree that it cannot replace the physical study, but it is short-time alternative till the COVID pandemic is over. And you should take this positively, that because of the online study you are in touch with the teachers as well as you are in touch with the studies. You are continuously in touch with the studies, and so you are performing your studies. You are performing well in your studies because of this continuous touch with the study. Events and situations that happen to us, yes, then daily as a social interaction, physical environment. So all these are external pressure. Again, I would like to reiterate that every time we should take the happenings or interactions what are there in and around us positively. Whenever you take the positively and whenever you cut down the negative interaction, you may experience no stress or less stress, right? So I appreciate that even if you are finding this online studies, one of the student as a stressor, but you are still there online. So you are taking it positively. I appreciate that, and you are taking positively. So it is less stressful condition. You should take positively. You should not. You have not to go to the college for attending the class. You can attend the class sitting at the home, or like lying down at the home, lying down in a bed. You can attend the class, and still you are learning. So it is the positive thing of the online study. You should take the positive side of any condition and then think, and then you may not experience the stress, right? So we are going further. Lifestyle choice like caffeine, taking caffeine, lack of the sleep. Because of the lack of the sleep, it is common cause of the experience of stress. Overloaded schedule. We have already discussed that our schedule is too tight. That in between there is no gap for our personal work. So overloaded schedule. During studies, you may experience this type of the schedule that so many subjects are there to study, and many a times we must be thinking that which subject to study first, which topic to study first, and which topic to study afterwards. So overloaded schedule. In case of the job work, also many times we have multiple tasks which are there in our list to do. So this overloaded schedule may also lead to the choice, lead to the stress. But every time we have the solution. Every time for every stress we have the solution. That we should make the list of all the schedules. We should make the list of the tasks, and accordingly we have to give the priority. Many times we may have 10 tasks to do in your to-do list, but we have to give the priority that which task is to be completed first, which task will require our attention first. That we have to complete first, and afterwards we can do that. Our to-do list is never going to be over. No, it will be keep adding. It will keep adding every day. But accordingly, we should select the task to do. Negative self-talk. I have already told you that pessimistic thinking, self-criticism. We are criticizing on ourselves. Over and that I am not able to do this work. This work is too hard. That everything happens to me only. Right? Self-criticism, everything. Why this is happened? Suppose if I get corona, that I said that why to me? So negative self-talk, pessimistic thinking. Negative thinking means over-analyzing. We are analyzing many things over. Right? If this happens to this happens to this, then that happened to that. That will happen to that. Actually, that is not going to happen. We are thinking like that. Suppose if I'm going to teach online, then that is going to create this eye strain, or that is going to take your eye more activity. Suppose this type of the overthinking or over analyzing. Suppose I'm going to write this thing, then what will be the impact on other person? Many times we are over analyzing. We have to analyze. Definitely we have to analyze the things, but not in overt manner. Mind traps, unrealistic expectations, many times taking things personally. Suppose somebody is talking in general term, and we are taking that he has said to me, right? So that we are taking it personally, but actually that person doesn't want to say about us. He is taking in general. Why we want to take on us? So that is things taking personally. Unrealistic expectations. We are expecting that today corona will be over. Today, after tomorrow, there will be no case. Suppose we expect like that, but that is unrealistic, right? And it may take the stress. All or nothing thinking. Many a time we are thinking too much. I already told you that we are thinking too much, or nothing thinking. We are thinking nothing to think at all. Exaggeration to any reaction. Rigid thinking. Suppose we are thinking rigidly that my father has done like this, so I have to do like that. But time has changed, right? We have to cope up with the time also. We should not blindly follow that what our parents have done or what others have done. Rigid thinking, rigid behaviors. So it may also lead to the stress. personality trying perfectionist. Some persons are very much perfect, that he wants to have the perfect work, right? Suppose in making the presentation, that if any capital word is missing, so he is stressed that why he has not written this thing in capital. Suppose this personality trait, this word is written. Suppose here P should be capital and other words should be actually in small letter, and trait T should be capital and other words should be in small letter. So if the perfectionist person sees this, immediately he may experience the stress that all these words are written in capital, so it is not good. So perfectionist, workaholic person. So you may have seen that movie Chal Jeevi Laiye in Gujarati, Chal Jeevi Laiye. That child is that son is workaholic, and so the father takes him to the Uttarakhand, and that to relieve the stress of the work. And here he manages that how the son has relieves the stress of the work by engaging into the nature. So workaholic may experience the stress. Types of the stress: negative stress and positive stress. Because of the stress, positively we are thinking in direction of the reconstructive ideas. So negative stress, it is a contributory factor in minor conditions such as headache, digestive problem, skin complaint, insomnia. Because of the stress, person experience insomnia. That is, person is not able to sleep because of the stress. Stress is one of the conditions that it leads to insomnia. Headache, we experience headache because of the stress. We experience digestive problems such as constipation, fullness of the abdomen. Excessive, prolonged, unrelieved stress can have the harmful effect on mental, physical and spiritual health, right? Because of the stress, we have anxiety, we have depression, so that mental effects are there. Because of the stress, we experience headache, we experience insomnia, we experience skin problems, so that is physical problem. Because of the stress, spiritual health, many a times excessive stress may lead to that unbelief in God. Said God doesn't exist. We try to believe that now God doesn't exist because stress, because of the stressful condition. So our spiritual health is impaired. We start believing in a direction which is opposite to the spiritual way. Positive stress can also have a positive effect, spurring motivation and awareness. Many a times, because person is passing through the stressful condition, and the person then have got the motivation that I am passing through this stressful condition. Now I will work in a way that no further I will pass into the stressful condition. Many a times you may have experienced the stories that many persons born poor, passing through the poverty, but that person, poverty is this stress in form of the poverty can lead to the positive way. It can charge the person in the positive way. That person is trying to work in such a way that person becomes no longer poor, remains no longer poor. Awareness, providing the stimulation to cope with the challenging situation. Stress also provides the sense of urgency and alertness. Suppose stress, suppose this social change and stress, this lecture is today over, and I declare that we are going to take exam today, afterwards at 5 p.m. So you start learning today. You start learning, remembering these things today only, that your exam will be at 5 p.m. Actually, it is not going to so don't worry about that. So if I declare that your exam of this topic and other sociology topic will be after 2 months, so that you what you feel that, oh, after 2 months we are going to have the exam, we will prepare afterwards, we will prepare later on. But if the exam is declared today at 5 p.m. about this topic only, then you start preparing right now. So it will create the sense of urgency and alertness needed for survival than confronting threatening situation. So it may lead to the preparation of the topic just now, right now. So everyone is different with unique perception of and reaction to events, and there is no single level of the stress that is optimal for all people. So all experience stress as differently. Some may experience as mild stress. Same event to every individual give the stressful condition in different ways. Some people may experience no stress at all. Suppose I declare the exam that at 5 p.m. there will be exam. Some of the students may experience no stress. But many other students may feel, oh, today we will be having the exam. So they may experience much stress and reaction to events. There is no single level of the stress that is optimal for all. Some are more sensitive owing to the experience in childhood and exploits of the teacher, parents, religion. So because of this, some will be more sensitive to any condition. Most of the stress we experience is self-generated. Yes, this sentence is very much important. So stress is self-generated. We are perceiving the condition as a stress. Actually, it is not stressful condition. Many a times it may not be stressful condition, and even if we are perceiving the condition as a stress, how we perceive life, whether an event makes us feel threatened or stimulated. So we have to perceive we can perceive the event as a threatened or stimulated. Suppose COVID is there. So here COVID is going on, and we have to take online class. Whether we perceive as a threatened situation or whether we perceive as to take the online class, even if many teachers or many students may not be cope up with the online class and they have learned this online class. So it is the stimulation for them. It is the simulation for the students to learn online and for the teacher to teach online. Encouragement and or discouragement, we can take that it is encouragement. But we have to cope up with the situation, so we can feel that we have learned online class. Happy or sad depends on the large extent on what we perceive ourselves. So it is in ourselves that whether we have to take this situation, particular situation, as a stressful situation, or we have to take in positive direction. Self-generation is stress is something what a paradox, because many people think of the external cause when they are upset. So we are usually thinking that because of other person, because of the external condition we are experiencing the stress, but it ultimately depends upon us whether we have to take this condition or this person as a stress or not. Recognizing that we create most of our own upset is important. First steps toward coping with them. Stress response. Flight and fight reaction. The stress response is considered as the flight or fight reaction, right? Whatever physical experience we are experiencing in flight, that type of the response, or fight during the fighting, that type of the response, that is flight and fight response. As you know that you know about adrenaline system. This adrenaline system is activated during the stress, and we experience changes because of the adrenaline system, because of our this sympathetic system, fight and flight reaction. So what are the effects of the stress on various systems? We are going to talk about this, and after that we will be ending within 10 to 15 minutes, maximum within 10 to 15 minutes. So endocrine system, stress response controlled by endocrine system. It demands on physical or mental system of the body, which result in hormone secretion. I already told adrenaline secretion. Because of the stress, adrenaline is secreted, testosterone is secreted in male. Endocrine system response includes also increased pupil dilation because of the stress. Suppose we are frightened. We are frightened in dark. It is stressful condition, so our pupils get dilated. We are frightened of sudden changes. So those who are working in share market, sudden change in the price of any share that the person owns, a sudden decrease, it may lead to the frightened. It may lead to the dilatation of the pupil. Perspiration. Yes, during stress we experience perspiration. Whenever you are there in stressful condition, whenever you are there in exam, suppose you are in exam and you are not knowing the answer of some questions, you may experience perspiration. Increase heart rate because of the stressful condition. Yeah, during exam, increase heart rate, increase blood pressure, but it is physiological. We don't have to convert this system into pathological. We don't have to convert this increase in heart rate or increase in blood pressure into pathological. Rapid breathing, muscle tense, increase mental alertness because of the stress. Yes, our mental alertness increases. So we have to cope up with this. See, this we have to take as a positive way. Increase mental alertness. Suppose you don't have exam, then your mental alertness will be low. Suppose exams are not declared. Suppose you have to just study. There will be no exam. Then our mental alertness level, it goes down. And suppose exams are declared shortly, within short while, our mental alertness level increases. General adaptation, alarm response, adaptation, exhaustion, we may experience because of the stress. So alarm response, this is the fight or flight response that prepares the body for immediate action. That when we experience stressful condition, our body takes this stressful condition as an alarming situation. Suppose exams are declared after 15 days. You may say that why sir is talking about exam every time in example, because it is suitable to you. So alarm response. So suppose exam is declared after 15 days. So it will be the alarming situation for you that you have to prepare your body, you have to prepare your mind for immediate action for the preparation of the exam. Adaptation phase, if the source persists, the body prepares for the long-term protection. So suppose source of infection is persisting, so we are now adapting to this source of infection, corona, and we are adapting to wearing the mask, making the social distance. So that is the adaptation phase. Secreting hormone to increase the blood sugar level, this phase is common. Not, it doesn't happen in case of the infection, that is in other way. This phase is common and not necessarily harmful, but must include period of relaxation and rest to counterbalance the stress response. Every time our body cannot be in stressful condition, we also need the rest, and that is why we take the rest at night. Every time during whole day we are working, we are taking the stress, but we need the rest at the night, and so it will give the counterbalance of the stress response. Fatigue, concentration lapse, irritability, lethargy result as a stress turn negative. So because of the negativity of the stress, we may experience fatigue, concentration lapse, we lose concentration. Suppose this lecture is going to persist for 2-3 hours, then you lose concentration in place of the 45 minutes, right? Or maximum 1 hour. So you can lose the concentration, you feel irritable, you feel lethargic, you feel fatigue as the stress turns negative. Exhaustion, we are exhausted because of the chronic stressful situation. Suffer here emotional exhaustion, physical, mental exhaustion. So because of the adrenaline exhaustion. So same example fixed over here, that if the 2 or 3 hour lecture is, then you are mentally, physically exhausted, and same thing we experience that by continuously speaking for 2-3 hours, we may exhausted. Symptoms of the stress: physical symptom, mental, behavioral, and emotional. 4 types of the symptom: physical, mental, behavioral, and emotional. Quickly we will go through this. So physical symptoms include sleep pattern change, or I think you are finding this topic interesting. Write down in chat box how you are finding this topic, whether interesting or not. Isn't it interesting? No worry, we are going to end soon, but write down in chat box whether you are finding this topic interesting or not. Write down in chat box. If you don't write, if you like that, if you feel that you are writing not interesting, then we will end soon. But even if you write interesting, we will end within time limits. Sleep pattern change, physical symptoms, sleep pattern change. I have told that insomnia because of the stress, insomnia, fatigue, and digestion changes, constipation or diarrhea. Loss of sexual drive because of the stressful work. Person may be not able to have the sexual drive. Person may be not having the relaxation, headache, itches and pain. We experience body ache. We have experienced headache and pains. Infections also, indigestion, dizziness, fainting, sweating and trembling, tingling hand and feet, breathlessness, palpitation, missed heartbeat. So these are the physical symptoms related to stress. Many of the things we have already discussed. Then mental, lack of concentration, memory lapse. Because of the stress, we usually forget that what we have done in past. Memory lapse because of the multitasking, we forget that what we have done in past. Difficulty in making decision because of the multitasking, we cannot make the decision that what we have to do and what we don't have to do. So that is difficulty in decision making. Confusion, disorientation, we are not oriented to the situation, panic attack. So these are all mental symptoms. Let me see how many students have written. Nobody has written. I have asked that whether you are finding this interesting or not. Yes, interesting. Yes, it's interesting. So write down your feedback about this class. I am also enjoying to take this class. I am also enjoying to take this topic. So write down your feedback about the class. How you find this online class, particularly about this topic. Behavioral symptoms. So appetite change, too much or too little appetite. Many times because of the stress, person may be eating too much, or some other person may be eating too little. Because of in hurried situation, person may be eating too little. Eating disorder like anorexia or bulimia, both may occur. Anorexia, loss of this appetite, anorexia, and bulimia, that person may have increased appetite, increased intake of the alcohol and other drugs. Yes, it is very common because of the stress. We have seen the external stresses because of the divorce, because of the social change related stress like divorce or death or loss of near and dear one, or because of the breakup, person may be start taking the drug because of the failing in exam. So we have to avoid this type of the behavioral changes. The learning from this topic is that we have to avoid this type of the physical, mental, or behavioral changes by avoiding uh, our response to the stressful condition, by decreasing our negative response to the stressful condition. We should take the condition in a mild way and we should behave accordingly. We have to keep calm during such type of the stressful condition. Increase smoking, restlessness, fidgeting, nail biting. I mean, nail biting is very much common. Hypochondria, emotional symptom, bouts of depression. We have already discussed that depression because of the stressful condition. Person is experiencing depression all over the day, all over the night, right? And it may lead to many other adverse effects. Impatience, right? Fits of rage, tearfulness. Person is experiencing cry every time. Deterioration of the personal hygiene and appearance. Person, because of the stress, person is not taking care of himself or herself. He may not be taking the care of face. Many times you may have seen that person who are in stressful condition, they start growing their beards and they start growing their hairs. They are not saving properly. They are not bathing properly. They are not taking care of their clothes, and it may lead to the disorientation of the deterioration of the personal appearance. Stress-related illness, cardiovascular disease, immune system disease, asthma, diabetes, these are stress-related illness. So many other diseases are also there: digestive disorder, ulcer, skin complaint like psoriasis. Again, stress is one of the cause. Headache and migraine, and premenstrual syndrome, depression. These are examples of stress-related. Ultimately, our link of our physical symptoms, link of our physical disease is there with the mental pathway. So whenever we experience any negative impact on our mental part, we experience the negative impact on our body. Now, cause of 90% of the bodily disorder is there in mind. Cause of 90% of the bodily disorders are there in mind. So we have to train our mind in positive way. It will build up the immune system. It will build up our other systems also, and it will lead to the positive impact on our body. Cost of stress: 80% of the modern diseases have their origin in the stress. Already I have told you, in the stress in UK, 40 million people working per year are lost directly from the stress related illness. So that is cost. Regarding something about cost, stress management technique, change your thinking. Already I have told about this technique in between. Change your thinking, think in positive way, change your behavior, change your lifestyle. Our lifestyle, exercising, getting up early, taking food which is only needed. If you take your food as a medicine, no other medicine will be needed, right? So take food as a medicine. We have to take only which is required to us, not take too much, not take too low. Change your thinking, reframing, positive thinking. These are all we have discussed already. Already we have discussed. So I am positive thinking about look for opportunity. Learn from stress you are under. So we have to learn from the stressful condition. Focus on your strength. We have to focus on your whatever the strength. Suppose my strength is public speaking, so I focus on my strength, that is public speaking. Whatever the strength, suppose your strength is dancing, suppose your strength is painting, then you have to focus on that strength. Look for opportunities, seek out the positive, make a change, right? So change your behavior, be assertive. We have to be positive, we have to be assertive, get organized. We have to work in ventilated environment. We have to create the good sense of humor also. We have to have the diverse idea. So already we have discussed. I am not going to spend too much by reading all these things. This recorded lecture will be available in your YouTube part, and you can watch anytime. Assertive people, I have already talked about that assertive skills, right? So I think time management, we have to make the list, what must be done, what should be done, what you would like to do, count out the time wasting, right? And learn to drop unimportant activities, say no or delegate to unimportant activities. So that is all about today's learning about social change and stress. I hope that you have experienced less stress and right? So you have experienced less stress and you may have find this topic interesting. Okay, thank you very much. So we are ending.